Look at the S&P. We actually gapped down, melted all the way down. Final stop was that blue zone, came all the way back up. Now, we did gap up at the open, and we're kind of just holding this zone right now. But all we really did, this looks like some of the bigger players got out, and the buy the dip crowd just didn't get the memo, and they think everything's fine. This is just kind of like one of the telltale signs that they're just offloading it on people. You guys are the buy the dip crowd. And I say you guys, I mean just retail in general. Offload it to the people that think it's something else. You know, they'll buy it up. What's concerning is how much sold off. I'm still thinking March, but I got to say this did shake a couple things. So let's go March, give or take a month. You know, we'll see what kind of volatility we have this week. We do have, what, FOMC Wednesday? Yeah, like Dom says, it doesn't matter. It's just news and an excuse. Exactly. And it's, you know, everyone's brains would pop if we sold off and there wasn't an excuse. People have been programmed to really think that. But I am curious why, because to move the market like this on a Sunday, not the hardest thing to do with volume, but why were they there on Sunday? Why were they just doing that much on a Sunday and then coming into the Monday morning? I think some big players were offloading a whole bunch. And why were they clicking the market sell button? You know, I'm sure they used an algo to get out of a position, but the parameters were just make it happen. So that's the one thing that makes me question, is March a little bit too late? We've seen little shakeups like this, and it's like a tremor. And is it not the archaeologist? Who's the guy that detects earthquakes? Comes in and he's like, oh, this tremor's just the beginning, and someone's like, oh, that's it? That's nothing. They're just not listening. What was the there was a volcano movie. Was it Dennis Quaid was in it? No one would listen to him. It is a seismologist. Yeah. Anyway, no one's listening to the radar. They get a little bump. They think that was the big earthquake. That was the big thing that was going to happen. Then nothing happened. I think that's what this was. The warning sign. As far as the S&P goes, gap down outside of the standard deviation, reined it back in. So you got the reined it back in play. All on Monday. Monday's already, it was a hectic day for me just in general. But how many times have we just gone to one standard deviation on a Monday? We thought that was volatile. We actually gapped almost to 2, about the 1.5 mark, reined it back in, all in one day. This is, we're getting ready for a ride. Gap down below that zone, just slid this thing all the way down to this yellow zone right here. I do want to make this brighter because for some reason that's where the buck stopped. I did see, what was it, slicing through zones. When people make comments like that, I don't know if they're saying that the zones are irrelevant, but when you have news or a catalyst, kind of like earnings, yeah, it's not really which one. You don't want to just start buying every zone. When it's just rolling through like a freight train, you got to let it do its thing. And more than likely it does stop at a zone, but you just don't know which one's which. So when we're just smooth rolling like that, do not jump in front of a bullet train. There's just no point. On a day like this, that's where the type 3 is handy. Like, okay, we did bounce here. Yeah, we hit that and just kind of held out. Ooh, I gotta say for now, let's just be mindful. Let's keep an eye on this range right here. Out of everything we saw today, there was the highs and the lows. I think you would be foolish not to pay attention to these levels. Hitting branches down, wishing one would catch you. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to feel like, too, if you start buying it. So I bought the dip yesterday. And that stop loss had plenty of room, and that wasn't a fun L. Meta today made up for that. But, I mean, imagine not having a stop loss on a futures account. You would have gotten wrecked. And then imagine buying every one of these zones on the way down. All right. I guess from today, we saw this back in November. And if we look at the NASDAQ as a whole, which right now I think is just the best thing to do, look at it as a whole. Here's where we left that, hit the top, and we've played the back and forth game. Large, I don't want to say it horizontal, like just chalk it up to nothing. But I think the top's in. Between now and March, maybe we put in another, you know, Meta could come out and say, earnings could just come out and say that it could be the best thing since sliced bread, and we get another all-time high. That's it. Taking some time off the clocks. If I haven't gotten out of my, let's say NASDAQ makes another all-time high. At this rate, could be tomorrow, could be next week. You know, you just don't know. If I hadn't gotten out of my position yet, as far as like my Tesla and Meta position, and I'm not getting out, I'm selling 30%. I'm selling calls to do so, and right now it's panning out because, well, we're not going up. If I haven't done that by then I'm just gonna flat out sell them. Wall Street Bets guy had a couple 100,000 in NVIDIA puts. Oh man. That's wild. Questions about the reining it back in. The thing is, guys, once we get outside this, market makers are now involved. So now it has to do with, there's no way I could say every algorithm is the same. Because are they going to let the week pan out and then start to delta hedge? Do they just start delta hedging right away? There's too many other variables in there. So what I've learned is, yeah, we could just, more than likely, if I take a rein it back in play, I'm just thinking we rein it back into the next one. Maybe they did some work. Now we're at 2 standard deviations. Bring it back into the next one. The rein it back in play really is something I like to take on a Wednesday. You know, we take our time to get there. We get a little excited. Then we rein it back in kind of thing. When we do it on a Monday, I would just say put your poncho on. You know, you're in the splash zone. There's not much we can say with any kind of authority on that one. Yeah, not a Monday. Yeah, let alone rein it back, gap down, rein it back in on a Monday. Checking out Grandpa Dow. That ended up pretty great. This is like an earthquake hit the market. Dropped it down, sent it right back up. What was holding the Dow up? Was there a run into anything defensive? I thought TLT was up a bit. Nothing much. VIX already cooled off. Boeing's out of the Dow, so it doesn't matter. We have the FOMC and big tech earnings. Yeah. Dividend tickers killed it today. Was there a run into anything? Okay. Pepsi. Did O do anything? I wonder if that's what's going on. Something I mentioned a while back, and I tried to mention it before, so just bring it up again. I think it's no secret this year might suck. And I'm curious, do people pull out of tech? Because why wouldn't you pull out of NVIDIA? If you've been NVIDIA longer than 3 weeks, you know, you've killed it. So why not lock that in, buy the dip on a dividend ticker, ride this year out, collect some dividends so you're still invested in something. And then, because all the dividend tickers are up while tech is down. What are some other popular ones? Is it MO? Altieri Group. That's up. Coke's up. Is it Procter & Gamble? PG. All the dividend plays are up. TG. No. What's Target's TGT? Pfizer, love the China news. I would say this to you guys personally. I would consider if you guys have, if your portfolio looks like mine and you're not prepared for the risk that I am, because you guys know it's no secret, my portfolio is basically just tech. There's a reason why I was saying the things I was, and maybe this is just a fluke, but it probably wouldn't hurt to have something like this. Might smooth over, might lube some things up for this year. So if you have a tech high flyer one that you could lock in some profits on, maybe lock it in and pick a dividend one. Pfizer was one that I liked just because at the bottom right here. I don't care for Verizon, Nike, KO, Walmart. Wow. Walmart's not a bad one to have. It just didn't have the dip buy, which is why it didn't make my list. Walgreens has a dividend, right? Sure, they sure do. Yeah, Verizon, AT&T. I would stay away from communications. I just don't think the battle is won yet. This goes back to when Christian was still around. I was helping him pick stocks for his daughter. She's killed it because we sold all her Verizon and bought NVDA. And again, I just didn't like. I do like Pfizer, Dom. As far as communications go, there's cell towers on the ground, and then there's satellites in space, and I do think there is a race to see which one could perform better and get it everywhere.